I, 32M, have been married to Claudia, 29F, for 3 years. We met at my friend Tom's birthday party 5 years ago. Tom had invited both of us knowing we were single and might get along well. He was right, we clicked instantly over our shared love for hiking and old movies. After dating for 2 years, during which we went on countless adventures together and really got to know each other's families, we decided to get married. Our wedding was small but beautiful, just close friends and family. Everyone who knew us always said we were perfect for each other. Even our parents got along great, which made family gatherings enjoyable rather than stressful. We both had good jobs. I run my family's construction business, and Claudia works as a marketing manager at a tech company. Life was going pretty smoothly until about 6 months ago when Claudia started experiencing panic attacks. The first one happened at her workplace during a presentation. Her coworker Sarah called me saying Claudia was shaking uncontrollably and couldn't breathe properly. I rushed to her office and found her in the break room, pale and terrified. I immediately took her to the hospital where they gave her some medication to calm down. The doctor suggested she should see a psychologist to understand the root cause of these attacks. I spent the next few days researching psychologists who specialized in anxiety disorders. Several names came up, but Dr. James Peterson, 34M, had the best reviews online. He had his own clinic downtown and specialized in treating anxiety and panic disorders. His website showed impressive credentials, a doctorate from a prestigious university and several published papers on anxiety treatment. Claudia started seeing him twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays after work. Initially, everything seemed normal. She would come back from her sessions looking relieved and would tell me how Dr. Peterson was helping her understand her anxiety better. She said he was teaching her breathing techniques and helping her identify her anxiety triggers. But things started changing about 2 months into her therapy. Claudia became increasingly distant. She stopped sharing details about her sessions, saying Dr. Peterson had emphasized the importance of keeping therapy discussions private. While I understood the need for confidentiality, something felt off about how secretive she had become. Then she started staying out late, claiming her sessions were running longer than usual. Sometimes she wouldn't return until 9 or 10 p.m. When I texted asking if she wanted me to pick her up, she would say she was getting dinner with a friend or had to work late. This was unusual because she had always let me know her plans in advance. When I expressed concern about these late sessions and her vague explanations, she became defensive and accused me of being controlling. She said Dr. Peterson had helped her realize how I was suffocating her with my overprotective nature. According to her, my concern about her whereabouts was a sign of my need to control her movements. This accusation shocked me because I had always supported her independence. Throughout our relationship, I encouraged her to pursue her career goals and maintain her social life. I never questioned her girls' nights out or business trips. In fact, I often pushed her to spend more time with her friends, knowing how important those relationships were to her. Things escalated when she started claiming I was emotionally abusive. She said Dr. Peterson had pointed out how my behavior patterns showed signs of manipulation and control. Apparently, by always being there for her during her panic attacks instead of letting her handle things herself, I was making her dependent on me. She said Dr. Peterson helped her see how I used her anxiety to keep her reliant on me. Her accusations hurt me deeply. I started doubting myself, wondering if I had unknowingly been controlling. I spent hours analyzing our past interactions, trying to identify instances where I might have been manipulative. But when I looked back at our relationship objectively, I couldn't find any patterns of controlling behavior. I discussed this with our close friends, particularly Tom, who had known both of us since before we started dating. They were equally surprised by Claudia's claims, saying they had always seen me as a supportive husband. Claudia's behavior became more erratic. She started going out on weekends without telling me where she was going. When I called to check if she was okay, she would either not pick up or snap at me for tracking her movements. She changed her phone password and started keeping her phone face down always. She would take calls in another room and quickly end conversations when I walked in. One evening, while she was in the shower, her phone kept buzzing with notifications. Worried that it might be work-related, she was expecting an important client email. I checked her phone. What I saw made my blood run cold. There were intimate messages from Dr. Peterson. They had been seeing each other outside therapy hours for weeks. The messages revealed they had been meeting at hotels and restaurants, far from his clinic to avoid being seen. I felt physically sick reading their exchanges. The man who was supposed to help my wife was taking advantage of her vulnerable state. Their messages showed how he had gradually manipulated her, first by making her doubt our marriage, then by positioning himself as her savior who truly understood her needs. Instead of confronting them immediately, I decided to gather more evidence. I needed solid proof in case things got ugly. Meanwhile, Claudia continued with her accusations. She told our friends and family how I was trying to control her life and how Dr. Peterson had helped her see the truth about our marriage. Some people actually started believing her, which made me feel even more isolated. My friend Mark, who works in IT, suggested installing a tracking app on her phone to gather evidence. Although I felt guilty about invading her privacy, I knew I needed concrete proof. The app revealed that instead of attending therapy sessions twice a week, she was meeting Dr. Peterson at various hotels and restaurants across town. I also discovered she had opened a separate bank account and was transferring small amounts regularly. When I checked our joint account statement, I found regular withdrawals that coincided with her supposed therapy sessions. She was paying for their hotel stays using our joint account. Last week, she told me she needed space to figure things out and suggested we should separate for a while. She claimed Dr. Peterson had advised her to distance herself from toxic relationships to help with her anxiety. That's when I realized she was planning to leave me for him. I haven't confronted her yet. I'm gathering all the evidence, messages, hotel receipts, bank statements, and location history. I plan to report Dr. Peterson to the medical board for his unethical behavior. I have also contacted a divorce lawyer to understand my options. I feel betrayed not just by my wife but also by someone who was supposed to help her. The worst part is that she's using mental health as an excuse to justify her affair. I don't know how to confront her without making her panic attacks worse, but I also can't continue living this lie. Update 1: After gathering all the evidence, I finally confronted Claudia last Thursday. I had spent days organizing everything: screenshots of their text messages going back 3 months, hotel receipts from 6 different hotels, location history showing their regular meetups, and bank statements showing withdrawals that perfectly matched their hotel stays. I also had screenshots of their intimate conversations where they discussed their future plans together. I chose a time when I knew she wouldn't have work the next day. After dinner, I asked her to sit down as we needed to talk. She initially seemed annoyed, probably thinking I was going to bring up her late nights again. I started by showing her their text messages. Her face went pale immediately. Before she could come up with excuses, I laid out everything else: the hotel receipts, bank statements, and location data. Instead of denying anything, she broke down completely. Through her tears, she admitted to the affair. She said Dr. Peterson had made her feel understood in a way I never did. According to her, during their sessions, he listened to her problems without judgment. She claimed he showed her attention in ways that made her feel special and heard. She confessed they had been physically intimate for the past 2 months. The affair started after an evening session when he invited her for coffee to discuss her progress in a more casual setting. That coffee meeting led to dinner, and things escalated from there. She said he made her feel young and desirable again, though I couldn't understand this as we're practically the same age. What infuriated me most was learning that her accusations about me being controlling and abusive were actually scripted by Dr. Peterson. He had systematically convinced her that my supportive behavior was actually a form of control. He planted ideas in her head during their sessions, suggesting that my concern during her panic attacks was actually manipulation to make her dependent on me. I immediately reported him to the state medical board, submitting all the evidence I had gathered. I also contacted his workplace and sent them copies of their text messages and hotel receipts. The clinic where he practiced was shocked. Apparently, he had painted himself as a dedicated professional who often worked late to help patients. They immediately suspended him pending investigation. After consulting with my lawyer, I filed for divorce citing adultery. The lawyer said the evidence I had gathered would make the divorce proceeding straightforward. When Claudia realized I was serious about divorcing her, she completely changed her tune. Suddenly, she wasn't the confident woman who had been accusing me of being controlling. Instead, she tried to blame everything on Dr. Peterson. She claimed he had gradually manipulated her into the affair. According to her, he would use their sessions to point out problems in our marriage, many of which she hadn't even considered before. He apparently told her that her panic attacks were a result of suppressed dissatisfaction with our relationship. While he might have manipulated her, it didn't excuse her actions or the horrible lies she spread about me. The most painful discovery was learning about the extent of lies she had told her family and friends. She had told her sister that I monitored her phone calls. She told her parents that I controlled our finances, despite the fact that she had access to all our accounts. She even told some friends that I had threatened to use her panic attacks against her if she ever tried to leave me. The lies were detailed and calculated, clearly designed to build a narrative of abuse to justify her affair. I decided to clear my name. I sent her family and close friends copies of the evidence I had gathered, along with a detailed email explaining everything. Many called to apologize for believing her lies. Her sister, who had been particularly cold to me in recent weeks, broke down crying when she called to apologize. To my shock, after I reported Dr. Peterson to the medical board, several other patients came forward with similar stories. 2 women reported he had tried to initiate romantic relationships with them during therapy. Another said he had suggested meeting outside of therapy hours to discuss her progress more comfortably. The medical board is now investigating all these claims. They've scheduled a hearing next month where I'll need to testify. My lawyer says given the pattern of behavior with multiple patients, Dr. Peterson will likely lose his license. He apparently violated multiple ethical guidelines, including having sexual relationships with patients and deliberately manipulating them for personal gain. Meanwhile, Claudia has been desperately trying to save our marriage. She shows up at my workplace, sends long texts about how sorry she is, and has even gotten her parents to plead her case. She keeps saying she made a huge mistake and wants to work on our marriage. But I can't get past her betrayal, especially how she tried to destroy my reputation to cover up her affair. The trust is completely broken. I've moved out of our house and am staying with my brother for now. I've blocked Claudia on everything except email, which I keep open only for divorce-related communication. According to my lawyer, given the evidence and Claudia's admission of adultery, the divorce should be finalized within a few months. Update 2: The medical board hearing happened last week, and it revealed a side of Dr. Peterson that shocked everyone. When facing the possibility of losing his license, he completely threw Claudia under the bus. His defense strategy was to paint himself as a victim of unstable patients who misinterpreted his professional care. He presented carefully edited versions of his text conversations with Claudia, removing his own suggestive messages while keeping her responses. This made it appear as if she had been aggressively pursuing him. He claimed that Claudia had developed an unhealthy attachment to him during therapy and had threatened to ruin his career if he didn't reciprocate her feelings. He even brought in his office secretary as a witness, who testified that Claudia often showed up unannounced at the clinic. Of course, this was technically true, but only because he had asked her to come outside appointment hours. I had text messages proving this, which my lawyer presented to the board. The hearing took an unexpected turn when other victims testified. 3 former patients shared similar stories about how Dr. Peterson had manipulated them during vulnerable periods of their lives. One woman described how he had suggested private dinner meetings to discuss her progress. Another revealed he had tried to kiss her after a therapy session. Dr. Peterson's response to these testimonies was cold and calculated. He tried to discredit each woman, suggesting they were emotionally unstable and had misinterpreted his professional concern. He even brought up their mental health histories, trying to paint them as unreliable witnesses. But his strategy backfired when the board saw the pattern in his behavior. The evidence against him was overwhelming. The board not only revoked his license but also recommended criminal investigation for potential abuse of power. They were particularly concerned about his pattern of targeting vulnerable patients and using therapy sessions to manipulate them. After losing his license, Dr. Peterson showed his true colors. He completely cut off contact with Claudia. He blocked her number, removed all traces of their relationship from his devices, and even deleted his social media accounts. When Claudia went to his office to confront him, he had security escort her out. His lawyer sent her a cease and desist letter, threatening legal action if she continued trying to contact him. This total rejection hit Claudia hard. She realized how completely he had used her. Last week, she showed up at my brother's house at 2 a.m., crying and begging for another chance. She admitted that during their affair, her panic attacks had actually gotten worse, not better. The guilt of cheating and lying was overwhelming her, but Dr. Peterson had convinced her that her increased anxiety was because of me. Claudia's family is furious with Dr. Peterson. Her father, who initially believed her claims about me being abusive, now wants to sue him. But my lawyer advised against it, saying it would only prolong our connection to this mess. Since the hearing, Claudia has been sending me long emails daily. She talks about how therapy with a new, legitimate counselor has helped her understand her actions. She keeps suggesting couples counseling, promising to sign any agreement I want, and swearing she'll spend the rest of her life making it up to me. But I'm done. The divorce is proceeding smoothly, and I expect it to be finalized next month. While I feel some sympathy for how Dr. Peterson manipulated her, I can't forgive how she tried to destroy my reputation. She could have talked to me about any issues in our marriage, but instead, she chose to believe a manipulative man who was clearly taking advantage of her. Some of our mutual friends think I'm being too harsh, that I should give her another chance since she was manipulated during a vulnerable time. But they didn't experience the betrayal of having their spouse deliberately try to paint them as an abuser. They didn't have to deal with family and friends looking at them with suspicion and judgment. Update 3: The divorce was finalized last week. Despite Claudia's attempts to delay it, including offering to sign a postnuptial agreement giving me control of all our assets, I stayed firm in my decision. The judge was particularly understanding after seeing the evidence of her affair and the false accusations she had spread about me. An interesting development occurred when Dr. Peterson's former receptionist, Maria, reached out to me after the medical board hearing. She had worked at his clinic for 3 years and had witnessed his pattern of targeting specific patients. According to her, he would research potential patients before taking them on, specifically looking for those from wealthy backgrounds. Maria revealed that Dr. Peterson had Googled me before accepting Claudia as a patient. He had found articles about my family's construction business and figured Claudia would be an easy target due to her anxiety issues. He had done this with several other patients, but most had rejected his advances or dropped out of therapy when they felt uncomfortable. The most disturbing part was learning that he kept detailed notes about patients' financial status and relationship vulnerabilities. Maria had found these notes while cleaning his office after he was suspended. She turned them over to the medical board, which led to a broader investigation into his practice. Claudia's family finally stopped enabling her attempts to reconcile with me. Her sister called me last week to apologize again. She shared some insights about Claudia's past that explained a lot. Apparently, Claudia had always been attention-seeking since childhood. She would often exaggerate or make up problems to get people to focus on her. Their parents had enabled this behavior by always giving in to her demands. Dr. Peterson has moved to Arizona after losing his license. He's now working as a life coach, marketing himself as someone who understands the unique challenges of successful women. Several of his former patients have filed civil lawsuits against him. Claudia wanted to join these lawsuits, but I advised her through our lawyers to stay away from anything involving him. Claudia still emails me regularly. She updates me about her life, her new therapy sessions, and expresses regret about her actions. Last week, she sent a 12-page letter taking full responsibility for everything and acknowledging how her attention-seeking behavior had destroyed our marriage. While I appreciate her finally taking accountability, my response remains the same: I wish her well but want no contact. I've moved into a new house in a different part of town and am focusing on expanding our business. My brother has joined the company, which has been a positive change. The whole experience has taught me valuable lessons about trusting my instincts. Looking back, there were red flags I ignored because I was trying to be understanding and supportive. Several friends have tried to set me up on dates, but I'm not ready yet. I need time to process everything and rebuild my trust in relationships. The betrayal wasn't just about the affair, it was about how easily Claudia was willing to destroy my reputation to justify her actions. I don't regret ending the marriage. Some betrayals cut too deep to forgive. While I hope Claudia gets the help she needs, I know staying away from her is the best decision for my mental health and future.